So here comes another Cosm. Let's talk about Tharkold.
Which I would totally say is my favorite, except I already said the Cyber Papacy.
You know, that's gonna come up a lot. Like almost every Cosm is our favorite, but it's also like next to another favorite.
Yeah.
So what's going on with Tharkold?
So Tharkold, the pitch for the Cosm of Tharkold is you've got these technological demons, these techno demons that have ruled their own realm for quite a long time. And they've got humans that they've enslaved and have just completely run rampant over for 500, 1,000 years, longer. And they're one of these groups that's going to come down onto Earth, carve out their piece of the pie, steal that possibility energy, and go home.
Now, in original Torg, they tried to invade and got repelled by the psychics who were in the service of Russia.
Yes. In the original one, they tried to land on Russia. Russian psychics saw it coming, kind of stopped the Maelstrom Bridge from landing, and the whole thing, falls to pieces. And they ended up coming back later and smaller
in Los Angeles
and Berlin. Yes, exactly. So they were kind of still around, but not quite the as impactful as they could have been.
Right.
And
this time they're part of the original invasion.
Yes, and the conceit this time is. Individual techno demons are much stronger than they used to be. Like they're a big deal when you fight them. And two, they don't fail when they try to land in Russia. They almost do. The Russian psychics they're on the ball. They're ready for it. But this time it's Jezreel saves the day. One of the High Lord Crenad's best servants.
So a human actually helps the technodemons.
It is.
Succeed.
It's a human that puts it over the top for them. So they get their hooks into the ground this time, and they start spreading out.
But then
that's where things start going bad. So like that alone, I thought made Tharkold really cool. Just changing that with the technodemons and with the invasion actually landing. That's cool. And then we kicked it up even another notch. Because one of the questions that I always had with the old book is, why doesn't somebody just nuke a Maelstrom Bridge?
So you did.
Right, so we did, yeah. On some of them, it's very easy to know why they don't. Like in the Living Land, well, nukes don't work, so boom. Nice try, sucker. But in Tharkold, the technology supports it. There's nothing that would stop it,
right.
So why not?
And the Russians do. They nuke, they bring it right down on top of Moscow.
Yeah, they do. And of course, that turns out to be a terrible thing for everybody involved. It's not good.
It's bad for the technodemons, but it's also bad for us.
Yeah, it's just as bad for us. And everyone learns okay, it turns out that's a terrible idea and we're not going to do that anywhere else. So when the nuke goes off and blows up this bridge, it's like a garden hose that's been cut off. So you've got
just spraying everywhere.
And what's spraying is not only radioactivity, radioactive fallout from that, but also the demonic energy that powers occult tech and their machinery that was in the bridge, and it just coming down all over northern Russia. A rain of black death that lands and creates this massive zone that we call the Blasted Land. It's just ruined, and of course, critters are mutating, and the technodemons can't do anything with it either because they've got to have Stella planted to actually be able to
right.
Gather this energy. So it's useless to them. It's useless to us. It's just a gigantic mess.
So how do the world laws of Tharkold come into play?
So, and this is one of the other kind of differences with the old one is. The original notion of Tharkold was because everyone's so mean and brutal and whatever, they had a lower social axiom. And what we've said is, no, this is a post-apocalyptic society. Their social axiom is actually quite high, but what you're seeing is a result of their world laws. So they have rules like the law of pain, which you get more power by hurting other people. Mm-hmm. And that works for good guys as well as bad guys. Although you don't stay a good guy too long if you lean into that one too hard.
You gotta watch that.
Yep, you've got the law of ferocity. It's a very kind of dog-eat-dog world that favors the vicious guy who attacks first. And then, of course, you got the law of dominance, which is the bread and butter of the techno-demons.
Right, because they live like a pack mentality, and there's an alpha leader.
It is.
Things like that.
It is, and that kind of constrains what should be a much more wide open social network, but these laws are kind of forcing people down this line. And the nice thing about having that high social network is since we've tied psychic powers to social development, we can have the thralls be psychic.
Actually, this Tharkold is where the majority of the psychic powered heroes come from.
It is. It's kind of the home of the psychics between the Russians and between the thralls, who are now kind of slipping out from under the control of the techno-demons.
Not that there aren't psychics elsewhere, but this is really the major cosm for psionic powers. Yeah. So I can play a psionic hero from Tharkold. I can also play a guy who's got like an occultech cybernetic arm, and it's got this cool rocket-powered Mad Max kind of hammer.
Yes, yeah. So the idea is that occultech works fine as long as you don't mind that it's powered by evil demonic magic. You can stack it on anyone and it'll be okay. And people, because it's kind of that Mad Max post-apocalypse, people need to use what they can get. And so when you take down a techno demon, you part him out. You're like, oh man, he's got stuff that we can use, and this will be great.
Speaking of that, so why do you go adventure in Tharkold? It's a pretty nasty place, full of demons and dark energy and pain and
thralls and all sorts of horrible stuff. Yeah.
So why go there?
Well, since we tried in every cosm for there to be something, that would draw you there, and in Tharkold, it's salvage. So
because that Maelstrom bridge got blown open, there's little pieces of their most favorite technology everywhere.
It's just lying on the ground waiting for somebody to pick it up. Now you kind of got to deal with the radiation and the reality storms and the monsters to get it. But once you get it, A, it's valuable in the black market, and B, you can use it yourself. Like it's useful technology.
Cool.
It's also a place where they go to study how reality works, because it's kind of been torn asunder. It's like the fabric of it's very raw there. So it's kind of easy. It's easier to see how things are working in Tharkold.
All right, so we're fighting techno-demons, we're fighting mutants, we're fighting thralls. We're out there riding in the sand dunes in our dune buggy looking for salvage.
Yeah. Well, and that's one piece of the flavor in Tharkold, but there's actually a whole other piece of that, which is the Russian government after the nuke, they've got a place at the table. Because a duke died in that.
A duke of the Tharkold.
A duke of the Tharkold demons. His position went to he who killed him, which is of course the wolf, the leader of Russia. And so now the Russians are kind of complicit with the techno demons.
But they've also proven that Earth is not to be flexed with.
Yeah, right. Which is very upsetting to the Gaunt Man. Like didn't want to see something like that happen. That is not good.
They're not to be trifled with.
Yeah, that is not for the good. Not good for the overall effort. But so they've kind of fallen into a détente between the techno demons and this kind of corrupt regime that's running Russia. So yes, you've got the wasteland with your kind of Mad Max theme and your cars and
right. But you've also got the Akira side with your psionic powers and all that crazy stuff going on.
And you've also got a very sort of post-Cold War vibe inside the cities, where you've got people trying to get along under this regime that's cooperating with these really nasty creatures. And then there's the question of, are they cooperating because they've fallen for it? They're now in it for the power, or are they biding their time to get the strength up to really strike back and do some good?
Right. That's interesting, and that definitely makes Tharkold an interesting place to be part of from the original invasion, not coming in later, just happening at the same time everybody else.
Yeah. We needed them up front as a major player.
Okay, and that's Tharkold.